The Locked On Podcast Network presents the Big 6 in 60. The 6 biggest national sports stories from the local experts of the Locked On Podcast Network. Get the real story, why it matters, what's next, who wins the big game, and more, all in 60 minutes. The Big 6 in 60 starts now with the biggest story in sports.
Unreal. The San Francisco 49ers did it. They went into Philadelphia, defeated the 3-seed Eagles.
You are Locked On 49ers, your daily San Francisco 49ers podcast.
What a game this was, Croc, for the San Francisco 49ers. We've got a lot of game balls to give out here. I've got a nice little list of game balls, multiple players deserving in a win like this for the 49ers to go beat a team that on paper should have beat the 49ers, a team that was favored by 5.5 points last I checked against the 49ers before this game started. And none of that matters, Croc, when the 49ers have that little extra something. They've got that special quality. And I think I know what that special quality is. And I'm going to start off by throwing out a game ball to the coaching staff. And pre-game, we talked about this, Croc, as potentially where do the 49ers have the advantages? I think Brock Purdy's better than Jalen Hurts. And I know that Hurts has a ring. Brock Purdy does not. I think Brock Purdy's a better quarterback. Despite 2 interceptions, I think he played better quarterback in this football game. But the big one for me in the end, Croc, was the coaching staff. Kyle Shanahan and Robert Saleh. In fact, Robert Saleh, despite everybody that's missing, all of his linebackers, Eric Kendricks off the street, makes the final pass breakup to clinch the game for the 49ers there. Everything he's dealing with, he's got rookies out there making big plays for him on that defense against, guys that are current and former All-Pros, Goddard and Smith and Brown and Lane Johnson and just the entire group of players, Saquon Barkley. I'm just trying to think of all the Pro Bowlers that are on the offensive side of the ball. Some banged up, some not. But the Eagles offensive coordinator is going to be fired tomorrow, right? And 100%. Robert Saleh is out here advancing to the next round of the playoffs despite all of that. You can have all your All-Pros on that side of the ball. We don't need any more All-Pros left on our side of the ball. We're still going to go in there and beat you. I think Kyle Shanahan versus Vic Fangio went kind of about as expected. I do have a call out for Kyle Shanahan here, good and bad in this game. But where the 49ers won the game was their ability to limit the Philadelphia Eagles on offense and keep giving the ball back to Kyle Shanahan and Brock Purdy and the 49ers offense.
Man, I want to start off by talking about Robert Saleh. I think he's earned a potential head coaching position just really based off of these last 2 games. I mean, I know 49ers didn't win the Seattle Seahawks game, but he kind of stifled an offense that put up a lot of points, and they only scored 13 against the Niners, right? Able to move the ball up and down the field. And then you turn around and what the 49ers defense did against the Philadelphia Eagles. 49ers are decimated by injuries. I was talking to my bros and my son about the game, and we're watching. I'm like, I don't know who number 49 is. Like, who is that? Like, the 49ers are playing out there with the replacements. There's a movie called The Replacements. That's literally who the 49ers are playing with defensively and a lot offensively as well. And the 49ers just figured out a way. And Robert Saleh, terrific job getting his guys really ready to play. And a thing I like to say to the kids I coach, maximize your ability. Right? Like, we all have a certain amount of ability, but you have to maximize that. And maximizing it doesn't mean that you're going to be this great player or even great team or great defense. But if you can maximize what everybody's capabilities are, it increases your chance of, at the very least, coming away with a W. And that's exactly what the 49ers did today. Shout out to Robert Saleh. Kyle Shanahan, too. Couple clutch play calls in there. But Robert Saleh, because I feel like the defense kept the 49ers in the game. A couple of turnovers by Brock Purdy, a couple of interceptions. How many points did the Philadelphia Eagles get off of those 2 interceptions that really set them up in good field position? Was it 3?
They might have got 1 field goal on that second one, right?
Yeah. That's it. So you got 3 points off of 2 interceptions. To me, that's great job by the defense and Robert Saleh.
Play of the game, play call of the game, Kyle Shanahan going to the reverse pass And Juwan Jennings, who, by the way, has another touchdown pass in a Super Bowl, if I'm not mistaken, right? Former high school big-time quarterback. He was a quarterback recruit to Tennessee, originally transitioned to wide receiver. What a beautiful throw he made on that reverse pass. A lot of window dressing. You have Sky Moore, first of all, going in motion from left side of the play to the right side of the play. Then they give him the ball back to the left side on a jet sweep. He gives the ball back to Juwan Jennings, who comes around and throws on the move, rolling out a perfect pass to Christian McCaffrey, who makes a really nice catch himself, Willie Mays style, over the shoulder into the end zone for a touchdown. Biggest play of the game, call of the game. Guts on Kyle Shanahan to make that call. And 49ers won in the coaching department. And what a call that was. We got to talk about Kyle for a second in the end of the first half, but let's give Kyle his flowers for the overall game and especially that call right there and how well they executed that play. Because you can call a play, but if they don't execute it, it doesn't matter. A lot had to go right on that play.
Yeah, same passer that there was in the Super Bowl, right? Juwan Jennings throwing the ball, same recipient of the touchdown as well with Christian McCaffrey. So terrific job dialing that up at the moment that he dialed it up in. And I mean, that was a big time play. The 49ers, they're fighting with one arm behind their back right now. You lose George Kittle, and I sent a tweet to my buddies, and I'm like, man, no Brandon Ayuk, no Ricky Pearsall, no George Kittle, no problem, because Kyle Shanahan did a terrific job of saying, you know what, again, maximize the potential of the guys that are on the field. And okay, you got a couple turnovers. We'll figure out a way to fight through that. And I talk a lot about that. Like you got to figure it out. You won't hear me complain about the 2 interceptions in this game, because at the end of the day, are you going to still, in the midst of that, with everything else that's going on, figure out a way to win the game? And whether it was Kyle Shanahan is just hanging in there, whether it was Brock Purdy continuing to fire, even though he had thrown those multiple interceptions. Terrific job. They need a little help. I see the AJ Brown made a big drop. He did that. That helped. That helped.
You know who's going to leave town with Kevin Patullo, the offensive coordinator? AJ Brown. I think they're both played their last games, or they're both had their last games with the Philadelphia Eagles potentially. And I think a loss like that, one and done in the playoffs, is going to shake some things up over there in Philadelphia. And what does their head coach even do? You're arguing with your guys on the sideline. Your offense stinks. Just make Vic Fangio the head coach.
Yeah. Nah, I'm just in awe of that performance, man. Just figuring out a way to win with all the adversity that the 49ers have to face. I mean, losing George Kittle in the fashion that they lost him and still just hanging in there. Hopefully there's some things that they learned from, right? I'm probably not throwing to Jake Tunges when he has like an all-pro cornerback on him.
Yeah, tough matchup there. It's kind of like, Kaepernick going against Sherman, right? In those big moments, maybe go with the other guy on the other side of the field in some of those moments.
Because you're expecting the tight end to run away from the defensive back.
Yeah.
And that's probably not going to happen in that situation. Not that corner versus that tight end.
Yeah. They're talking about how I was picking against the 49ers pregame. That's why this is so improbable. By the way, if you listen to the NFL Six Pack every day, I actually picked the 49ers to beat the spread. Straight up, I think the line was somewhat correct. The 49ers were supposed to be underdogs. They were underdogs in that game. That's what makes this so awesome. And that's why you play the games, Croc, because you can go beat a team. And Christian McCaffrey talked about it post-game on the field. He's like, well, there's no quit in this football team. And watching how the 49ers played and seeing how all the other games so far in the wild card round have played, the Carolina Panthers, 10.5-point underdogs, nearly knocked off the Los Angeles Rams. All these games have been really good. All these games have been one-score games. Anybody can win any given week, and a lot of these teams have their warts, and a lot of them have a lot of strengths as well. And the 49ers are among them. But the 49ers going on the road, as banged up as they are, should have been underdogs, and they were right to be underdogs. But that doesn't mean you can't go out and win the game if you're an underdog. And I did pick the 49ers to cover and be within 5.5 points, which clearly they were, because they came out ahead by 4 points, 23-19 against the Philadelphia Eagles.
The wild card round is here, and FanDuel is officially in playoff mode every game day during the NFL playoffs. FanDuel is giving customers even more ways to get in on the action. Right now, every NFL playoff game day, FanDuel users get a profit boost pack waiting for them inside the app. Each game day, you'll see a pack loaded with multiple profit boosts you can apply to the bets you like most. Open your profit boost pack first thing on game day and see what boosts you want to apply. The boost lets you lean into your game day instincts, whether you're backing momentum, defense, quarterback, play, or coaching. Every play feels bigger, and the boosts make your bets feel that way too. Visit FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL, and grab your profit boost pack every NFL playoff game day.
Despite being road underdogs, the smallest market team in the AFC went down south and ended the Jaguars season.
You are Locked On Bills, your daily Buffalo Bills podcast.
Happy Victory Monday to you. The Buffalo Bills defeated the mighty Jacksonville Jaguars 27-24 and advance to the divisional round of the playoffs. What a win. What a win for those Buffalo Bills. Very, very satisfying. The battle-tested Bills prevail. That is one tough and resilient football team. Got a playoff win on the road against a hot team that won 13 games, including their last 8. Josh Allen delivers his first ever playoff career game-winning drive, overcame injuries, and got it done. So we'll do what we do here on these post-game episodes. We'll talk about things I liked, we'll talk about things I didn't like, and we'll talk about what's next. And when you get into things I liked, of course, we start with Josh Allen. He made it happen, right? Made it happen. The run game was not cooking, not in this one. But Josh Allen goes out there, completes 28 of 35 passes for 273 yards with a touchdown, added 2 rushing touchdowns, didn't turn over the football, was efficient, was decisive, lived to play the next down while also landing haymakers. The touchdown pass to Dalton Kincaid in the fourth quarter, the 36-yard strike to Brandon Cooks on the game-winning drive, where Devin Lloyd is coming on down, right in his face, hangs in there and delivers a strike. 2 rushing touchdowns. And ultimately, this was a bit of a defensive struggle for the first 75% of the game. It's 13-10 going into the fourth quarter. Jags score a touchdown. Bills score a touchdown. Jags score a touchdown. Bills score a touchdown. Trevor Lawrence makes the mistake. Josh Allen wins. Josh Allen's the first player in NFL history to complete at least 80% of his passes and rush for multiple touchdowns in a playoff game. Also the first quarterback in NFL history to have 3 different playoff games with 2+ rushing touchdowns. Big day for 17. Big day. A lot of people were ready to bury him. A lot of people were ready to deliver a lot of criticism. Not today. Not today. Comes out on top. Plays a great football game. And willed it, right? Willed it. Battling through injuries. Takes some big shots in the game. Gets it done. How about Khalil Shakir in this game? 12 catches on 12 targets for 82 yards. And that dude in the postseason finds another gear. He's a good football player anytime. But in the postseason, there is just championship effort in that man. Came away with some huge, tough yards after catch plays, a couple catches down the field, and he was just the safety valve for Josh Allen. Delivered the second ever double-digit catch playoff game for a Bills player. The only other one to do it, Thurman Thomas, had 13 catches against the Browns in 1990. Great game from Khalil Shakir. And look, I think you would look at Khalil Shakir as the guy that had the most production. But there were so many moments for different players on the Bills when it comes to catching the football. Brandon Cooks, 3 catches on 58 targets, 3 catches for 58 yards on 5 targets. Once again, providing an available option down the field for Josh Allen with consistency. The only 2 incompletions were Josh just had a little bit too much on one throw down the right sideline, just need a little more air on that one. And then the one that was ruled incomplete, that looked pretty close to being a catch to me. It's a nice addition to this team that's mattered down the stretch. And took them a few weeks. There's still, some inconsistency, but Brandon Cooks certainly elevates this receiver core. Keon Coleman with a big 36-yard catch that led to a touchdown. Huge play in the game. Dawson Knox, 3 catches for 30 yards on 3 targets. Had a big catch on the drive that ended in a Dalton Kincaid touchdown. Tyrell Shavers with a 14-yard catch. Of course, Dalton Kincaid with that huge touchdown down the left sideline. Gabe Davis with some tough catches. Frank Gore hauled in a catch. There were a lot of great individual moments for Bills receivers, tight ends, catching the football. Apologies for my voice. I got real excited. When Cole Bishop picked off that pass and let out quite the scream. And so I'm still working through the hoarseness from that, but certainly enjoyed my Sunday afternoon watching the Bills. One more comment here on the Bills passing offense, which obviously was the catalyst, right? They made big throws, big catches in big moments. The pass protection, I thought, did its job. Josh Allen has 35 passing attempts. He's hit 3 times, sacked once. It's a bit of a coverage sack. Took a 12-yard loss, but that was really it. I mean, I thought the pass pro did a good job, especially on the edge. You had good on good with Deion Dawkins and Spencer Brown against Josh Hines Allen and Trayvon Walker. I thought the Bills won the war for sure. And then I thought Josh Allen's processing really helped the pass pro. He was very decisive in this game and didn't put unnecessary stress on the pass pro. So good blocking, good quarterbacking, and you do a pretty good job of keeping Josh Allen clean in this one.
All year long, it's been about Drake May and the explosive Pats offense.
You are Locked On Patriots, your daily New England Patriots podcast.
Let's just absorb this here for a minute. This is the Patriots' first playoff win since Tom Brady. Their first playoff win since 2018. You go back to the last time that you felt like the Patriots had a chance to win a playoff game, and it was against Mike Vrabel's Tennessee Titans, who beat the Patriots, beat Tom Brady at Gillette Stadium. It has been a while since we have had this feeling, a Patriots playoff win. The schedule was weak. All the schedule talk. The Patriots aren't really a good football team. They played a bunch of tomato cans. Yada, 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 yada. I don't think it's a coincidence that Drake May had an audible tonight, tomato juice. Forget about the tomato can talk. Forget about the schedule talk. I've said this. The Patriots have done what good teams, if not great teams, do. They have dominated bad football teams. That's what you do. Take advantage of bad football. And so we can put away the schedule talk because the Patriots went into tonight's game against the Chargers, one of the better teams in football. They're a playoff team against one of the better quarterbacks, a Chargers team that, yes, is banged up, a Chargers team that has had offensive line problems, but a Chargers team that won double-digit games and won some pretty big-time games against really, really good football teams this year. So throw away the schedule talk. See you later. Don't want to hear it ever again. And what we saw from the Patriots tonight was a team that faced adversity and was able to overcome adversity. This was not a perfect game. This was not easy. The Patriots didn't cruise through this game. I mean, this was a tight, tough, physical fist fight in a phone booth in the playoffs. The Chargers defensive line, we talked about them in the preview show. Their defensive line was a problem tonight. Their defensive line got after Drake May. Will Campbell, Jared Wilson had a tough night. Drake May was sacked 5 times during tonight's game. 5 sacks. Drake May got hit a number of times pretty hard. The Patriots lost the turnover battle. They were -1 in turnover differential, but they found a way to win. And that's what good teams do. Not playing your best football, not playing your cleanest football, but finding a way to win in your biggest game of the season. In all three phases, I know I'm going to sound like Bill Belichick, but all three phases chipped in for this win tonight. That's what happened. You got contributions from all three phases. The defense, will wax poetic about the defense, trust me, because the defense, as you saw on the thumbnail here on YouTube, the defense was freaking dominant tonight. I did not see that coming. I thought the defense would be good tonight against this matchup. I did not think this defense was going to be dominant. I did not think this defense was going to be shut down. The defense was incredible. The offense, again, not a clean night, not a perfect night. Certainly some issues that you need to fix as you move on here and play the winner of the Texans and Steelers on Monday night. But the offense came away with a much-needed touchdown drive when you absolutely had to have it, when you could feel that separation, when you could put all the pressure in the world on the Chargers and you need a touchdown drive. You get the touchdown drive from Drake May. You get the touchdown drive from your offense. So the defense was dominant. The offense moved the ball. They did just enough. They put 16 points up on the board. And the special team, something that we always overlook and we shouldn't. We saw what happened with the Ravens against the Steelers and how the Ravens lost their opportunity to be in the playoffs this year because their rookie kicker, Tyler Loop, missed a field goal to win that game. Here we are talking about special teams, and special teams was nearly flawless. Bryce Behringer had a nice punt during this game and pinned the Chargers inside the 10-yard line. Didn't have to punt much. Andy Borregales, your rookie kicker, was excellent tonight. Really no issues there, right? Ends the first half with a field goal again. So your rookie kicker showed up and kicked well. And your special teams coverage was excellent. The Patriots special teams coverage was really good. Shout out to Jeremy Springer. They did a fantastic job all night long. Even the little things like Marcus Jones calling for the fair catch and making it look like he's going to catch it and letting the ball bounce into the end zone to get the extra yards and to set up that touchback. The special teams was great. And that's how you win a playoff game, which frankly, we can all agree with this, was a pretty ugly football game, but that's how you win. That's how you win playoff football games. All three phases. Your defense is dominant. Your offense does just enough, comes up with a big drive, scores that huge touchdown, and your special teams is nails practically all night. And Mike Vrabel talked about this from the very beginning. Mike Vrabel knows what he's talking about, folks. When he was asked on Monday, this past Monday, you go back to the beginning of the week, and he was asked about the Chargers, and he was asked about this specific matchup. What did Vrabel pound? Mike Vrabel kept talking about physicality. He kept talking about winning in the trenches. He kept talking about fighting and how this game was going to test the physicality and the toughness of his football team. Mike Vrabel knew exactly the type of game that we were going to see tonight. And once again, Mike Vrabel had his team ready to play. And the Patriots won that physical battle. Not every single snap. Again, Drake May got hit plenty of times. The left side of the offensive line has to be better. But the Patriots won the physical battle. They won it enough to win this game 16-3. By the way, 2 penalties. Only 2 penalties all night long on the Patriots. So they played mostly disciplined football. It doesn't have to be pretty. It never has to be pretty. The only thing that matters on God's green earth when we talk about, especially in the postseason, the only thing that matters is that you walk out with a victory. And that's precisely what happened. The Patriots have gone. They have gone from a 4-13 football team to a team that is now going to host their second playoff game in this postseason. I mean, how can you not smile about that? How can you not be excited about this football team? I mean, we're talking about a couple of wins away from a Super Bowl appearance. I thought this team would win 9 games. I thought if everything fell perfectly for Mike Vrabel and company, they would win 11 games. 14-3 regular season, walk into the playoffs tonight, Take care of business. Now it's on to the next one.
The wild card round is here, and FanDuel is officially in playoff mode every game day during the NFL playoffs. FanDuel is giving customers even more ways to get in on the action. Right now, every NFL playoff game day, FanDuel users get a profit boost pack waiting for them inside the app. Each game day, you'll see a pack loaded with multiple profit boosts you can apply to the bets you like most. Open your profit boost pack first thing on game day and see what boosts you want to apply. The boost lets you lean into your game day instincts, whether you're backing momentum, defense, quarterback, play, or coaching. Every play feels bigger, and the boosts make your bets feel that way too. Visit FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL, and grab your profit boost pack every NFL playoff game day.
You are Locked On Wolves Postcast, part of Locked On Minnesota on the Locked On Podcast Network.
I don't even want to tee you up, man. I just want to jump right into it. 19-point comeback, down 17 in the fourth. Everybody made plays down the stretch. It felt like no Finch either, by the way. And we just watched the game of the year thus far. You witnessed it live. You're at the Target Center. Talk to me about the electric atmosphere tonight. And also, I mean, what's a win like that against a Spurs team, mind you, mean for this Wolves team specifically, Jack?
Yeah. Sorry if I can't hear you as well tonight, because this place was absolutely on fire. My ears are still ringing. It was deafeningly loud inside Target Center here tonight. This crowd was unbelievable. I think, especially from kind of the middle of the third quarter, they kind of sensed that the Spurs offensively were slipping and the Wolves just needed a jolt of energy. And this crowd absolutely brought it in the entire second half. It's one of those nights where, for me personally, I'm just super grateful to be able to do what I do and be at all these games and sit where I do, because this was just an unbelievable basketball game. And I think you got to give, again, the Timberwolves a lot of credit. Couldn't have played worse yesterday defensively. Spurs got a really good win in Boston. So they came into this one 2.5 games ahead of the Wolves in the standings. So Minnesota knew that this was a huge game. And I mean, they absolutely delivered. The tank definitely was on empty, but they did have a rest advantage in this game. I mean, the Timberwolves played at 12 yesterday. The Spurs played at 6 yesterday.
Good note there. Yeah.
And they had to fly from Boston to Minneapolis, which is a really tough back-to-back. But I mean, just starting at the very end of this game, 6 lead changes in the final 3 minutes and 16 seconds. And I want to touch on Anthony Edwards right away off the top. I mean, we've talked about Ant settling like crazy these last few years, at least in the regular season, and it's kind of been a proven playoff riser, but that's never really translated to regular season late game performance. And now it just feels like every time he has the ball in his hands in the clutch that something good is going to happen. Anthony Edwards came into this game shooting 70% from the floor in clutch time situations, which is by far the best shooting percentage of anyone with at least 30 field goal attempts. Next highest is VJ Edgecombe at 59%, which is crazy for a rookie. But Ant goes 4 for 5 for 9 points in the final 5 minutes and 18 seconds, when the game was all within 5 points. Had 2 go-ahead baskets in the final 2 minutes, 19 seconds, made both of those attempts. So I just think the way that he's just totally ascended into this, I said it the other night, I'll continue to say, just like a comprehensive superstar, and that there's nothing that he can't do on the floor. Played amazing defense for most of this game on Stephon Castle, who was god-awful in this game in terms of his impact on the floor. He had 11 points, missed 9 shots, had 7 turnovers. I mean, Anthony Edwards gets a ton of credit there, so it was a two-way thing for him. And then again, with Wemby on a minutes restriction, about 26, 27 minutes, Fox, Castle, Harper, all 3 of those guys struggled offensively this entire game. You'd think the Wolves would have been in a really good spot to win this game pretty easily, but Wolves made it hard on themselves like they tend to. 14 of 25 from the free throw line, 56%. But again, you got to give the guys a ton of credit for the mental fortitude they displayed to overcome that. And the way that they, still D'd up and played really great defense on that guard trio. I mean, they shot 8 of 35 from the floor. That's 23%, had 10 assists, 10 turnovers, only scored 23 points. Was awesome. And then it was just a struggle early in this game for the Timberwolves, and the way that they just totally came back from a slow start again. It is a total mental win for the Timberwolves tonight in this game, for the way that, they kind of overcame a bunch of adversity. And I think a lot of that had to do with the way that Dante DiVincenzo and Naz Reid just kept playing, right? The Timberwolves stars didn't really have it in this game early. I mean, Naz didn't have it early in this game, started, I think, 0 of 5 from the floor. But the way that those two guys just found every single 50-50 ball, made every single huge shot, I think totally sent this crowd into a frenzy that was the kind of the spark that lit the fuse in every single other Timberwolves player that was on the floor. And so I think, you got to give those guys a lot of credit. And I think, too, they totally took advantage of the non-Wemby minutes. With Wemby on the floor, he played 27 minutes even. The Spurs were plus 17. They had a 138 offensive rating, 104 defensive rating. Both those would be best in the league. Plus 34 net rating. Minnesota shot 46% from 2. And in the 21 minutes flat, Victor Wembanyama was off the floor. They were a minus 18, had a 70.8 offensive rating. So their offense was 68 points worse.
Wow.
100 possessions without Wemby out there. And Minnesota shot 60% from 2. I mean, it was just a totally, completely different offensive approach and attack and results for the Timberwolves. And then did a great job, again, making it tough on those 3 guards when Wembanyama was off the floor.
This is the Locked On Player of the Game.
See, now you're on the hot seat, man, because between this and biggest X factor, I feel like you could just spin the wheel. You got 2, 3, 4 legitimate options. But who are you going to go with here for tonight's player of the game for the Wolves? Who was it and why?
Yeah, for me, tonight's player of the game is Dante DiVincenzo. I think it's his first player of the game nod this season. And I think a lot of why Dante gets the defensive player of the game tonight is that he just allowed the Wolves to keep treading water. He made some threes early in the second half when the Timberwolves energy coming out was really bad out of the locker room. I thought that the game was over at that point, truthfully. They just looked like they were totally out of gas and weren't quite right mentally, but Dante, as well as Naz, just made some threes that kept them, instead of it being a 21-point game, it was a 14-point game. And I think those types of little plays matter. Had a steal off of an inbounds that resulted in a corner 3. I mean, it just felt like every single time the Wolves needed a huge shot to drop, Dante DiVincenzo was the guy who got it done. I mean, he had 19 points, made 5 of his 12 threes. You'll take that every day of the week. He had 8 defensive rebounds, which was a lot. Go back and look at a lot of his defensive rebounds. I mean, he's high pointing the ball. He's getting clobbered on the way down, hits the deck and still just finds a way to get up and make things happen. And then, too, when he's not rebounding, he does a great job of coming back to the ball, looking for the ball in transition and push pace in a really great way that set up a lot of awesome transition and semi-transition possessions for the Timberwolves. And in a lot of those moments, he had 7 assists tonight, and a lot of them came in those types of possessions. And then he also had 4 stocks. So he was really active defensively, didn't have a great time in the first half matching up against Champagny, but when he Champagny, really turned his water off in the second half. And then the reps that he had guarding De'Aaron Fox, Stephon Castle, Dylan Harper, just really competed. And that's all you can ask for a guy. And I think, those types of guys in your team that just play super hard every single night, there are going to be nights where that type of energy rubs off on the team when everyone else doesn't really have it, and is enough to kind of keep a team in the game by yourself. And we've seen Nickeil Alexander-Walker do that a ton for the Timberwolves in years past, and Dante DiVincenzo has kind of taken that mantle this season, and it's been really fun to see.
Time to reveal where the game was won or lost. It's the turning point.
God, they lose the first, second, and third quarter. They're down 17 a minute or 2 into the fourth, I want to say. And then it's like, okay, let the games begin. Things got so wild, so heated, so kind of ramped up, Jack. The Rudy Gobert sequence and foul and tech, we'll talk about that a little bit more with Victor Wembanyama. But walk me through it here. You were there. You were live. Was there, one moment, one sequence, I guess, that really ended up feeling like kind of the difference for the Wolves tonight?
Yeah, for me, it was when Naz Reid made his first 3 of the game at the 3:31 mark of the third quarter. And that, I think, everybody in Target Center kind of looked around at each other and said, this team can win this game, right? And I think when the fans kind of start to believe on that level and pump that much energy into the building, it just makes you fight even harder than you can. It allows you to go, let the gas tank run past E defensively and just dig a little deeper, find those extra ounces of of energy to compete on that end of the floor. And so, there's, Dante and Nas, those are, two guys that ignite the crowd in a way that pretty much the only guy who can, do that is Anthony Edwards. And so I think when the crowd really got behind Nas, made that first three, then made two more in the final couple minutes of that third quarter, it's kind of like that treading water, right? The Spurs wanted to push it to 20 and Nas just didn't let that happen, kept it right around, in that 10 to 14 point range nearing the end of the fourth quarter. And then, those two guys and Bones Highland too played excellent basketball, especially in the offensive end of the floor in the early parts of that fourth quarter to just buy them enough time when Anthony Edwards was, was kind of biding his time, refueling for the fourth quarter push. So I thought, between those two guys, they were absolutely unbelievable. Again, I think I had it in here. Yeah, the two of those guys combined for 36 points, 8 made threes, 9 assists, 20 rebounds, and 7 stocks. And so I think when you have two bench guys that are willing to fight like that, it's only a matter of time before your stars are able to come through and make enough plays to get to the end. And that's certainly what happened.
The wild card round is here, and FanDuel is officially in playoff mode every game day during the NFL playoffs. FanDuel is giving customers even more ways to get in on the action. Right now, every NFL playoff game day, FanDuel users get a profit boost pack waiting for them inside the app. Each game day, you'll see a pack loaded with multiple profit boosts you can apply to the bets you like most. Open your profit boost pack first thing on game day and see what boosts you want to apply. The boost lets you lean into your game day instincts, whether you're backing momentum, defense, quarterback, play, or coaching. Every play feels bigger, and the boosts make your bets feel that way too. Visit FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL, and grab your profit boost pack every NFL playoff game day.
For the first time in school history, the Indiana Hoosiers will play in the official national championship game for college football.
You are Locked On Hoosiers, your daily podcast on the Indiana Hoosiers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
This is a historic night. And Indiana, for the, 5th time this season, has won the biggest game in program history. And they do it with an absolute dominance, beatdown, whatever adjective and word you want to throw in there, 56-22. And for us that watched it, we know it wasn't even that close. I'm your man, Jacob Goins. I appreciate you being here. Voice is struggling a little bit. We're getting back into the radio broadcasting, podcasting season right now. Had some games earlier this afternoon that I called, so bear with me on that. But oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. How many times have we said that on these live shows? How many times have people counted out the Hoosiers? How many times have people said, nah, this is it. This is the game they go down. This is the one where they're going to slip up. That Oregon team, it's hard to beat a team twice, right, guys? Not today, it wasn't. Indiana proves they are the best team in college football. It might be one of the best stories we've ever seen. More on that when we talk about the national championship game. We'll talk about that matchup, do a quick preview here tonight about what Indiana and Miami could become on Monday, January 19th. You already know we're going to do our favorite segment of likes and dislikes, but this is... It makes me speechless. The broadcasters were speechless. Fans are speechless from both sides and across the country. People cannot fathom what they're seeing with their eyes. And if you didn't see it, right, with your two eyeballs or hear it with your ears or a little bit of everything, you simply wouldn't believe it. That Indiana just dismantles another P4 team. They dismantle a conference foe in the college football playoff semifinals. This is not supposed to happen. This is not supposed to happen. And yet Indiana continues to show up. They bring their lunch pail and they just take it to you for 4 quarters. Indiana is the best team in the country, and they will be favored against Miami in the national championship game. And so much for our score predictions, man. Me and my buddy Spencer McLaughlin of Locked On Ducks, we both said low scoring, tight game, Indiana pulls it out in the end. We both said that. We both felt good about that. Nobody had Indiana dropping a 56 burger on Oregon in the semifinals. Are you kidding me? 56 points offensively. And let's just be real. You held them to 1 or 2 touchdowns in this game at all. One real touchdown. You scored one right in the second half and got the 2-point conversion, and then you scored there late. Whatever. Oregon was punting the football away at halfway through the third quarter and to start the fourth quarter. They gave up. They were done. They were absolutely done. And Indiana ripped the soul out of the Oregon Ducks, which I just didn't think was possible. Dan Lanning's a hell of a coach. That's a great team. Dante Moore is a fantastic quarterback. That defense is legit. They've got NFL dudes all over the place. And Indiana said, yeah, we don't care. Yeah, we're good. We'll do what we do, and we'll just absolutely destroy you for 4 quarters. I have a whole list of things that I want to talk about on this live show. Drop your thoughts in the YouTube comments, man. We'll be here as long as we need to for one of the greatest nights we've ever seen in the history of college football, one of the greatest nights we've ever seen in the history of Indiana athletics. Job not done. Okay, job not done. And we know that Curt Cignetti is going to preach that in the locker room and until the Monday, January 19th national championship game rolls around. But Indiana's in the Natty for the first time. Now, I know they played in the Rose Bowl in 1967, right, when they shared the Big Ten title. They got there and played USC. But this is the first time Indiana has played in the official branded national championship game. And you have a legitimate chance to win it all. And so I want to go through the stats of this game. I want to go through the trends of this game. I want to go through just the history that was made in this game, including Fernando Mendoza in his passing line with his incompletions and his passing touchdowns, the rushing yards, which were just completely lopsided by Indiana, the manhandling up front on the offensive and defensive lines for the Hoosiers, and big play after big play after big play. And you got to start. I mean, maybe the greatest start in the history of a college football playoff game was D'Angelo Ponds. And wasn't it so movie-like? Wasn't it so cinematic that it was D'Angelo Ponds, a guy who has been with Cignetti since day one? Since D'Angelo got to college, he was a Curt Cignetti guy. He comes from James Madison. He makes himself an All-American corner. He's the leader of the secondary of this team. And he got to return the favor. He got to return the favor to Dante Moore, who rears back, finds 5 in red, and he's gone to the end zone for a pick 6. Oh, my heart was so happy. And it was like, oh my God, this is it. It's over, right? Vince Carter, over, done, shut it down. Let's go home. Not really. It felt that way for a minute, but you knew there was a lot of ball game left. But what a way to start. You physically couldn't have asked a genie, right, rub the lamp and say, what's your wish? I'd like to start the best way possible. This wouldn't have been the way to do it. That's not what I would have said. I would have said, yeah, get a 3 and out and get the football to Fernando Mendoza. If Oregon takes the ball, get a 3 and out, get the Hoosier offense out there. That's what I would have said. But nah, Indiana's defense said, we got you guys. Let's give ourselves a little buffer here. Let's give ourselves a little head start. And D'Angelo Ponds makes a hell of a play, picks it off, takes it to the end zone, and all is forgiven for Fernando Mendoza for throwing a pick 6 the first time against the Oregon Ducks. So you're up 7-0, and it's like, all right, well, let's see what Oregon can do. And they responded in a big way. Oregon goes right down the field like a knife through butter. Indiana's defense had miscommunications. They had some missed assignments. They had some missed plays, and Oregon goes right down and takes advantage. Indiana goes up 7-0 on the pick 6. It's then 7-7 after Oregon goes down the field, 14 plays, 75 yards in almost 8 minutes of time. First quarter is basically over at that point. And then Indiana does it. Indiana said, that was cool. Watch this. And they go 11 plays in 75 yards in 6.5 minutes. And Indiana responds with a touchdown of their own. At that point, right, I'm texting with some people, and it's like, man, so much for our under, so much for our defensive fight. Let's just see who can score more points. But after that, the Indiana defense locked in. Indiana defense said, yeah, that's enough of that. And they got after it. They got after Dante Moore, sacked him 3 times tonight. They shut down Oregon in the run game like I couldn't even imagine. 93 rushing yards for Oregon tonight. 93. And I understand they had injuries. I get it. I absolutely do. I get it. But to just stop them in their tracks, with one of those being a massive play. One of those being a massive play. Let's not forget that, right? Let's not forget the idea, okay, that Oregon had as a team 93 rushing yards. 71 of those came on one play. Indiana came to play. The defensive line came to play. Dante Moore was fine. He played okay after the pick six, but he was never going to be the same. 285 and 2 touchdowns. But man, Indiana said, we're going to man up and just be stronger than you, be more physical than you, and just flat out be better than you. For an offensive line that looked solid against Texas Tech, Indiana wasn't worried. The Hoosiers went to work and just manhandled them for 4 quarters, okay? So Indiana dominates the running game, right? Held Oregon to 93. Hoosiers ran for 185. Ran for 185 in a group effort tonight, running the football. Kalon Black, 63 yards. How about Roman Hemby for 53? How about Kobe Martin down the stretch with 42 as well? He looked solid. All right, Indiana wins the rushing battle, like we talked about. Passing yards, whatever. Most of those were garbage time for Dante Moore anyway. Right, you do everything you need to do. And at the end of the day, what did you do? You handed it off, or I guess you snapped it to your Heisman Trophy winning quarterback. You let Fernando Mendoza show the world again for the 8th time, 9th time, 10th time this year that he's the best damn player in the country. He's the best quarterback that Indiana's ever seen, and he'll go down as one of the best college quarterbacks we've ever seen. Folks, they're already comparing Indiana to the 2019 LSU team. That's what they're comparing it to. I'm not going that far yet because the job's not done. There's still work to do. But when your quarterback in the college football playoff semifinals steps in against a top 5 defense in the nation, goes 17 of 20, 177 yards, 5 tutties, 0 interceptions. Folks, you realize that's an 85% completion percentage? You realize that he upped his passer rating from the Alabama game to this game? He was better statistically in this game than he was against Alabama. 5 passing touchdowns for Fernando Mendoza, 2 rushing touchdowns for Kalon Black, and the 8th touchdown being the very first one on the pick six. Indiana scored 8 touchdowns against the Oregon Ducks, 7 of them offensively. We've never seen performances like this. We've never seen history be made like this in front of our eyes. It's truly incredible to watch. And so pick a moment, pick a player, pick a unit. It doesn't matter. Indiana won. They won the matchup in every way. Every single way. They won it. You want to pick Indiana's linebackers? Cool, they got after it. Stopped the run, plugged the hole, got after Dante Moore, did their job. You want to pick the running backs? Cool, Indiana ran all over them. Oregon couldn't stop it. They couldn't stop a toddler tonight. Pick the quarterback, that's an easy one. Pick the coaching job, that's an easy one. Pick the receivers, that's an easy one. You threw 5 touchdowns tonight. Did Fernando Mendoza, 2 to Surratt, 1 to Cooper, 1 to Becker, 1 to E.J. Williams. All of them were fantastic. The first one to Surratt was as bad as Indiana as it comes. The one to Cooper was phenomenal. Becker makes the plays like he does. Some injury scares there that we'll talk about. E.J. Williams made a heck of a play as well. Like, what more could you ask for? What more could you ask for? And even a team like Indiana, right, when something goes wrong, it somehow turns out right. And you know exactly what play I'm talking about. When something you think is about to go wrong, and then it's like, oh, wow, how about that? Indiana somehow turned it into a positive. 2 fumbles tonight, and you count them both back, including the Fernando Mendoza one, where the helmet just popped that football. And don't worry, there's an offensive lineman to jump on it. It's fine. Indiana wins 56-22. And I hope Hoosier fans are celebrating tonight. I hope you are just so obnoxious and loud and proud and doing whatever it is that makes you happy tonight, because history was made once again.
The wild card round is here, and FanDuel is officially in playoff mode every game day during the NFL playoffs. FanDuel is giving customers even more ways to get in on the action. Right now, every NFL playoff game day, FanDuel users get a profit boost pack waiting for them inside the app. Each game day, you'll see a pack loaded with multiple profit boosts you can apply to the bets you like most. Open your profit boost pack first thing on game day and see what boosts you want to apply. The boost lets you lean into your game day instincts, whether you're backing momentum, defense, quarterback, play, or coaching. Every play feels bigger, and the boosts make your bets feel that way too. Visit FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL, and grab your profit boost pack every NFL playoff game day.
The Indiana Hoosiers will face Miami on January 19th, and Indiana is playing like a juggernaut.
You are Locked On Canes, your daily podcast on the Miami Hurricanes.
Kelvin, from the very first play, like the blowout was on, Dante Moore throws a pick six. Indiana's up 7-0. They never look back. What's your take, Kelvin? Because I know a lot of people now are looking at this game and saying Miami's going to get blown out.
My take was, is Dante Moore point shaving? I mean, oof.
He had some rough moments.
Yeah, he did. And I think that might have been the deciding factor in him coming back. But to be quite honest with you, he shouldn't come back. If you're I think it's the Jets and the Raiders have the first two picks. I'm gonna probably ruffle some feathers when I say this. If you're the Raiders and you pick Fernando Mendoza, you're going to be picking another quarterback in 3 years. Is he a good quarterback, good system quarterback? Yes. If you pick Dante Moore, you're going to have a couple years where it's going to be rough till he adjusts, but he is a long-term answer for a franchise. He's a franchise quarterback. Fernando Mendoza is a good kid. He's a good, solid. I say the upside is maybe Sam Darnold, Kirk Cousins, which is not horrible, but, he's not going to carry your franchise. Now, this is the same guy we played last year at Cal, and he was good. He was okay. But there was nobody, if we had a gun to your head, Bruce's head, anybody's head, that said last year when they saw that kid, I think he's a first-round draft pick, future first-round draft pick, you get your brains blown out because there's nobody that believed that. Now, I'll give credit to Kurt Cignetti. Kurt Cignetti's an excellent coach, and he puts them in good situations, and they just don't make mistakes. They're an older team. They're very disciplined. They just don't make mistakes. And they didn't make any last night.
No, they didn't. And that's a problem because sometimes, and I think when Miami's at their best, Miami can beat Indiana or anybody else in the country. But Miami, sometimes they've made mistakes. Indiana rarely ever does.
But we made a ton of mistakes against Ole Miss, and we still won a game.
That's true, but this is not Ole Miss now. We can't do that against Indiana.
Ole Miss is more talented than this team.
Okay.
Matter of fact, and I think I told you this off air, if you go down our list of opponents, are they more talented than Ohio State? No. Did they beat Ohio State? Yes. They're not more talented than Ohio State. Are they more talented than Texas A&M? No. Are they more talented than Notre Dame? No. Are they more talented than Florida? No. Mississippi? No. Florida State?
I would think so.
No.
I think they're more talented. No? Ooh.
All right. Deuce Thompson or Surratt?
Deuce.
Okay. Yeah. Castellanos, if Kurt Cignetti were the coach of Florida State would be Indiana.
Okay, maybe.
They don't, like, when I look at their offensive line, I don't see first round draft picks. I see a solid, cohesive team that executes well. Now, mind you, people are going to say, well, yeah, but if both teams execute and there's not turnovers, I'm interested to see what happens when Ruben Bain doesn't have to worry about the ball coming out in 1.5 seconds.
Yeah.
it's going to be interesting. Now, they're going to try and run the football. I don't think they can. Can we run the football? Yes. Yes, we can. Probably run the football on the Dolphins.
Yeah. We probably could. And how do you see the line of scrimmage matchup, Kelvin, which is an advantage Miami has had all season long? And Indiana's defensive line to me looks a little small. How do you see that matchup?
I looked at their roster this morning and I was like, oh. They're just very technically sound kids, but our right side, 6'5", 345, 6'6", 340. Our left side, 6'9", 340, 6'6", 325. And they're not just big guys. They're, Miles Gore might be the first tackle taken.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Cooper's going to be a 10-year pro. I mean, they don't have a three, like last night, Oregon had a kid, Amari Washington, 6'3", 330 in the middle, and is actually pretty athletic. They don't have a guy like that. Their guys are, they're small, really small. But they do a good job with scheme and technique. But honestly, I don't know. I know they're undefeated. I'm not taking nothing away from that. And I saw the game last night, but we pretty much forced our will on everybody.
Yeah, that's true.
So styles makes fights.
Miami is going to go for their 6th overall ring on January 19th. Kelvin, what were your big takeaways? And maybe we can start with Carson Beck and the heroic final drive, but your big takeaways from Miami's victory against Ole Miss.
Well, I think if our DBs had any hands, it wouldn't have even been that close.
Yeah, I know.
We dominated the game physically. We just didn't pull away on the scoreboard, and part of that was Trinidad Chambliss, who kept them in the game. And then there was that one big run. It's just like every time it looked like we were going to pull away, something kept them in it. And then I just think Carson Beck has been wrongly labeled this whole year. He's done nothing. He had a 4-interception game, of which 3 of those interceptions weren't his fault. And then he had a 2-interception game in which both of those interceptions weren't his fault. And he's completing 73% of his passes. He's made great decisions 95% of the time this year. Yeah. And he is one of the main reasons why we are in this thing, right now.
Yeah, no doubt. And what about the rest of it, Kelvin, with Miami being able to control the clock for 41 minutes and 22 seconds, and they held Ole Miss to just 60 plays, which is like 15 below their average. Miami was also brilliant on third down on both sides of the ball, getting about 55+% on offense and holding Ole Miss to 2 for 10 defensively.
I don't see Indiana doing any better than Mississippi did. If you look at Ole Miss's defensive front four, they had a 6'8", 330-pounder and a 6'4", 315-pounder as the two main tackles. And they had, the one thing that I thought was a red flag for them was that their linebackers were 210 and 215. And but honestly, Indiana has very limited personnel. They don't play a lot of people. They keep 3 linebackers on the field most of the time, and they're 230-pound guys, 225-pound guys, and they're good, solid players. Aiden Fisher is a good player, but is he Arvell Reese? No. Is he Sonny Styles? No. And what do we do to them? And people may say I'm a homer, but I'm letting these two things right here make my judgments. There's nobody in the country that can stop us from running the football. Not if they, and I knew Ole Miss was going to have to do something because for my podcast I watched the other team because you want to give analysis, and when I watched Ole Miss, I was like, they're going to have to blitz on first down because of the way their defense is set up. They were giving up 160 yards rushing. Looking at Indiana, they're going to come with stunts and slants, and I expect them to come some run blitzes on first down too, because Kurt Signetti is a good coach. I know he thinks and his team has played flawless in these playoffs. But if he's looking at that film, you know what he's saying?
What?
Damn.
Yeah.
Damn. He's got to come with something so that we're not 2nd and 4 the whole game. So they're going to come with stunts. If you notice, we got a couple of offside penalties because Ole Miss would slant at the last moment, or steal them at the last moment.
Yeah.
They got to come with something on first down to get us behind the chains, which is going to set them up for play action passes. They're solid in the secondary. I think C.J. Daniels has got to come up big this game because I expect him to do what everybody else did and try and take baby Jesus away.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And I also expect them to go no huddle, up tempo. Because if you're them and you look at that film, you got to do something so that Ruben Bain and Messidor can't pin their ears back. So I wouldn't be surprised if they go with a lot of 3-step drops. And we need to press them at the line of scrimmage. I got a lot of faith in our DBs. Now, we do have some issues. I don't know if maybe you got an injury update because we're not going to have Lucas the first half.
Yeah, that's right.
I think Frederick's okay.
I think so too. That was the one that I'm pretty confident in.
Now, the guy that everybody should be excited about is Jabari Antoine.
He looks good. Young cat.
And then we got, the two safeties, Thomas and Poyser.
Yeah.
And then, the X factor, Keontae Scott. I mean, we're more talented than them. It's a question of, do we execute at a high level to where I think we can win this by double digits.